Hey, y'all, what is up? Welcome to another episode of A Cincy Fan Talking. It's your boy LP. If you notice, we kind of changed the title of the show ever so slightly, just to kind of let you know what we doing out here. Still talking that good Cincinnati stuff, but this is kind of reflective of what we do, because you know, we're always talking about just all types of stuff, sports, movies, TV, politics, all types of stuff. So, instead of it, just being, Cincy fan talk, it's just me, a Cincy fan, talking. So, just a real small tweak to the name. So, still same socials, Cincy underscore fan talk on Twitter. So, still that. Not gonna touch that. But the name of the show is A Cincy Fan Talking. Real small tweak. We're gonna hop into the show. We're gonna get into all of the sports leagues. So, NBA, football, baseball. So I'm kind of give you my weather forecast on if I think they'll be coming back soon. How Marvin Lewis used to do it. How he used to get on the press conferences, partly cloudy, sunny or whatever, when he did his injury reports. That's kind of how I'm going to play it. And I'm going to start with Major League Baseball. They put out their stuff. The owners put their plan out, and they're going to have the players vote on it. The players union vote on it to see what they think about it. Them coming back soon or coming back at all. I got cloudy. Not mostly cloudy, not partly cloudy. I got cloudy. I feel like they'll eventually come back. I just don't know if it'll be soon. I think eventually they'll get back. What concerns me, and honestly, you'll hear this about all of the leagues except one. I just don't feel like they have the safety of the players at heart. I just don't think they care about the safety. I feel like to them, and I feel like this is the same with the fans. I feel like it's all about the dollars. Like, the fans just want something to watch on television because they tired of watching, old reruns of, the 74 World Series and 98 NBA Finals. And they tired of watching NFL Red Zone Week 8, 2016. They tired of seeing all of that. So, I'm reading this on Twitter, like, relentlessly. People like, you got healthcare workers out here working. You got people bagging groceries working. You can play. Ridiculous. Like, you sitting at home. You not working. So, why you gonna, put somebody else's life on the line when all you doing is sitting there watching on television? You not going out and paying for tickets. So, why you forcing them out to work? At some point, we got to put other people's, health and safety. We got to, prioritize it the same way we prioritize ours. I just see it as ridiculous. Me, personally. So, I feel like that's what Major League Baseball players are. I feel like they're going to do that. They're going to go look, we want to play, and we know the fans want us to play. But do you have our safety in mind? And they're going to paint it, the fans are going to paint it and the owners are going to paint it like all you care about is money. But safety has to be an issue too. Of course it's going to be about money. We would all be naive to be like, this isn't about money. Everybody wants to get paid. Let's be honest. You would want to get paid for what you do too. But safety is a big issue here. So, for Major League Baseball, I feel like it's cloudy. for basketball, I feel like it's mostly cloudy. It's going to be tough for basketball to get back. And it's a little bit different because the commissioner is different. And it's a plus in a safety term, but for the fans, it's a minus because you have an owner or you have a commissioner that actually cares about the safety of the players. And if you're looking at the climate of this virus, and if you're looking at like the wishy-washiness, definitely not a word. But if you're looking at the unevenness of what's going on from state to state in terms of the response of how they're handling the virus, you can't have a team like the Golden State Warriors going to play a team like the Atlanta Hawks. They might not be able to go in the facility in California, but they can in Georgia. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous. And Adam Silver, he's actually watching this going on, and he's paying attention. Whereas you have Rob Manfred, who's getting pressure from all the other owners, and he's caving to that pressure. Adam Silver's not. So that's why I'm saying it's mostly cloudy for the NBA, because you actually have a commissioner who gives a damn. Like, he's not going to put his players out there in times like these. He's just not. For the NFL, it's all crazy. And there's pros and cons to this. The main pro is their season doesn't start until September. So they get to watch the responses of NASCAR, MLS, NCAA, MLB, NBA, I mean, even MMA and, the golf tour, even tennis. They get to watch all of this unfold and they get to react. It's kind of like, as a teacher, watching that last person do a presentation in my class, I'm expecting them to do the best because they watched everybody else do a presentation. So I'm expecting them to do a little bit better than everybody else because they got to watch everybody else screw up. They got to see the pros and cons of everybody else's presentations. So I'm expecting it to be a little bit better. But at the same time, the NFL's presentation is going to be a little bit different because it's a different sport. And in their sport, you have about 53 men in one closely confined space, which is a problem. And then you have a whole lot of other ancillary pieces. Timekeepers, officials, scorekeepers, media, fans. There's all of these other pieces, which is why I'm personally saying for the NFL, it's mostly cloudy. Because for the simple fact that it only takes one person in the locker room to spread a virus. And if that one person gets contaminated with a virus, you're going to have about 7 or 8 people that get it. Because that's the way a locker room works. You can't social distance in a locker room. Not with like 53 people in it. How can you keep them 6 feet apart in a football locker room? It's almost impossible. Which is why there has to be something in place. There has to be testing in place for football. It's most important for football. Which is why it's going to be mostly cloudy with an asterisk. It's definitely necessary for baseball and basketball, no question. But for football, if there's no testing, they can't play. And you guys can say whatever you want about me being negative and, I just want to see chaos. And that's not true. Because, I like football. Like, I like watching football being played. But you have to be a realist about this. Like, if your son's playing football, if your cousin is playing football, if you have an uncle playing football, would you really want them out there not knowing who has the virus around them? Would you really want that? There has to be testing for football. They're too close every single play. There's at least, at the very least, there's at least 5 to 6 people touching the ball every play. Umpire, linesman, center, quarterback, running back, receiver, maybe a defender, the ball boy. This is just one play. And then they're all touching each other to block. Every single play. There has to be testing for football. There has to be. Baseball, maybe they won't touch each other at all. I mean, they still won't be able to social distance nearly as much. Basketball, there has to be testing because of the proximity. But football, there has to be testing. So it's going to be mostly cloudy with an asterisk for football. So that's kind of like my whole weather report as far as what I feel like for the 3 major sports. Hockey, I don't really watch hockey. So, I mean, they're kind of like way out on another coast for me. So, I mean, that's really not my thing. A Cincy fan talking. We'll be right back. And what's up, y'all? Welcome back to a Cincy fan talking. As always, hit us up on the socials. That's Cincy_fan talk on that Twitter. And this was I guess you can call it it was an anniversary. I guess you can call it that. One of my favorite athletes ever in the history of life. For me, 2 of my favorites growing up, Reggie Miller. You can throw Jalen Rose in there too, so I say 3. Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, and Allen Iverson. Those 3, always 3 of my favorites. And last week was the anniversary of that whole everybody call it the practice interview. I hate when people call it that, but that's basically what it's called, the practice interview, because that's when he went on the so-called practice rant, super misunderstood, where he supposedly, well, he did say practice like, over 20 times. And when you see it played on ESPN and when the youngsters talk about it, the NBA star, talking about, we talking about practice. AI will get played. Even he joke about it sometimes. I mean, for me, Allen Iverson is the prototype of what happens when you give so much to a city and you're just misunderstood. That was Allen Iverson. And I feel like athletes can learn so much from what Allen Iverson went through. I mean, his whole career, he was just so misunderstood. People just don't understand. Like, if you just look at, some of the movies about Allen Iverson, it'll give you more of a perspective about, about what Allen Iverson went through in his career. I mean, for me personally, I feel like he's one of the most influential athletes for what we see today, especially in the NBA. You notice how in the NBA now, I mean, you see Sprite everywhere. You see hip hop everywhere. You see, Migos chilling, on the first row. You see E40, repping. He always rep the Bay, no doubt. But you see him, in the first row in the Warrior games, and in the NBA, embraced him and everything. You gotta understand, back in the day when we were growing up, it wasn't like that. Like you didn't see that. Like you didn't see hip hop all in NBA commercials and stuff like that. You might have saw it like every now and again, but you didn't see it embraced the way you do now. And you saw Allen Iverson, all in, hip hop gear, in the baggy pants, because that's what we did back in the day. The baggy pants with the platinum chains and all that. They had to make a whole dress code and everything for NBA players because, they didn't like that. They wasn't really feeling that. And Allen Iverson was like unabashedly himself. And for me growing up, I always appreciated that. And in that interview, I definitely advise you to go to YouTube. 30 minutes and 31 seconds of an athlete pouring out his heart to a room full of reporters. He didn't duck a single question, and he was going through it personally and professionally. Like he just lost somebody really close to him, and he just lost a playoff game, and that was the end of their season. He answered every question they threw at him. He was visibly upset. He was hurt. And he answered every question. He got so many unfair questions. And he answered them all. They tried to, his team, the spokespeople, tried to pull him off the stage. He would not leave. And maybe he should have because he was upset. And he didn't leave. He answered all of the questions. And I feel like personally, he got the short end of the stick because now when you see that interview, 30 minutes and 31 seconds, I memorize it, of somebody telling you exactly how they feel about a situation condensed into about a minute and a half of somebody talking about practice. I feel like athletes need to really watch that so they can understand that what they say can be shaped by the media to be anything that the media wants it to be. And they also need to understand that fans love you, but they also love what they want to see. And this is a Cincy fan talking. I'm also very rational. So what I understand from years and years of being a fan is this. Fans love you until they don't love you. And I feel like Allen Iverson understood that. He was also loyal. He was so loyal, in fact, that he was willing to put a team on his back. And he was willing to put a city on his back. And in that interview, you could see how much it hurt him that the city didn't have his back. And that they didn't have his family's back. And that they didn't have his coach's back. When he's giving out his heart and his soul to this city. To watch Allen Iverson work, which is why he is top 3 in my list of players ever. 6 foot tall, willing to go to the bucket and give you 2 points over anybody. Over Shaq, over Mutombo, over anybody. And forget the crossovers, forget the step over Tyronn Lue, forget all that. He's willing to go to war with anybody. And he was LeBron James before LeBron James in the fact that you look at the roster that he took to the finals. Look at that roster that he took to the finals and won a finals game with. Ridiculous. Like, there's no way that that team should get to the finals. But he took that team, put that team on his back, and got them to the finals. You surround that team with a little bit more talent, they'll get you a championship. They definitely will. But if you ask Allen Iverson, was that one of his best teams ever? He'll tell you, yes, it was. Because he rolled for his squad like that. So for him to get called out by the media, the Philly media, for him to get called out by Philly fans like that, I mean, it had to hurt. Which is why I feel like he's the prototype. He's the number one prototype for what happens when you have somebody that's loyal, but you're not loyal to that person. Which is why I will always tell athletes, it's cool for you to be loyal. And fans expect loyalty. But as an athlete, you have to understand, these fans love you because of the uniform that you're wearing. And I would definitely tell athletes to keep that in their brain. All of these fans love you, but they love you because of what you're wearing. And that's just me being a realist. I mean, I feel like I think rationally. Like, for instance, I mean, I love the Bengals to death. I'm smart enough for when I see like a Bengal out on the street and they're no longer a Bengal, I'm not about to be like, hey man, I hate you, I hate your guts, F you and all that. I'm not about to do that because I'm rational enough to realize this is a business. And more so than that, this is just a game. I love watching games. I'll yell at the screen. I'll be upset and all of that. But once the game is over, you give me a 2 or 3 minute grace period of being upset. After that, I'm like, what else is on television? Like, what else is on? I'm good. But I know so many people that have broken televisions, body slam television. Man, I've never watched that team again. And I'm like, is it that serious? And I feel like Allen Iverson is the prototype for that. He just rolled for his city of Philly so hard. And he just kind of looked around like, where's the love for me? And I just feel like that was shameful. Because they had somebody that bled for them. And to this day, if you ask him, he'll tell you, like, Philly till he dies. Like, I'm sure he'll say that. But I feel like in that moment in time, in that interview, it was just unfair to him. It really was. And you could see it. You could see it in that interview. So I just wish these athletes would understand, fans are just unfair. And I understand that fan means fanatic and all of that, but at some point these fans have to understand that we expect too much from athletes. We really do. They're humans, just like us. And that's what Allen Iverson wanted you to understand. They're humans. They bleed like us. Simple and plain. This is a Cincy fan talking. We'll be right back. Yo, you are back listening to a Cincy fan talking. Always check us out on that Twitter. That's Cincy_fan talk. Always down for a chat, so feel free to hit me up. Been doing the quarantine for a while now. Really haven't been out too much. Out every now and again, do some shopping. I'm like the mandated shopper in the house, so I'm usually the one that's doing that. Still not seeing too many people masked up out there. It's weird. Sometimes it'll be like 20, 25 people with like inside of a spot, and it's like 2 or 3 of us with a mask on. It's like, it's odd when you like the one that stand out in a quarantine, you got the mask on. Like, it's just weird, man. Y'all really should be wearing masks. So I don't know. I'm trying to be safe. I mean, y'all say y'all want sports, but we not really doing what we supposed to do to get sports. It is strange. Um, been watching The Last Dance a lot. I mean, for my money, I give it a solid 7. As far as like documentaries, I guess it's because I feel like I've seen most of it before. Like, I mean, I lived through those games. I've seen them. Like, I mean, I was a young buck, watching those games. NBA on NBC, watching that stuff. So, I mean, the new stuff for me, like, the new stuff would be like the year that they followed MJ and that 98 Bulls team. Like, that's the stuff that I want to see. But, like, when they start going back in time, like, every now and again, like, they'll drop some tidbits, some stuff that, like, I haven't heard before, like, when they're interviewing, some of the people that's been through it. But for the most part, like, it's a lot of regurgitated stuff, like real life. I mean, it's a solid 7. I mean, it's definitely something to watch, and ESPN know that. They giving you something to watch, because nothing's on television sports wise. Nothing's on television flat out for real. I mean, you got Insecure, and I'm checking that out like right after The Last Dance. Like, Last Dance on, I'm like hitting record on Insecure, so I'm checking that right after The Last Dance. So get The Last Dance a 7 so far. Last episodes come on next week. Well, this upcoming week, I'm gonna check that out. Insecure, I'm becoming a solid Molly fan, man. Straight up. Like, what I don't understand is how a lot of people don't get Molly's point of view. Like, it's a lot of people on Twitter, like, just siding with Issa. And I get it. Like, Issa's been the underdog from day one. Molly's the lawyer. Molly got the dough. Molly cheated, like, with a married dude. And, Molly's, like, perpetually messy. And she really hasn't seemed like she wanted to be happy in a lot of her relationships. Like, I get that. But in this particular instance, Issa was the one that violated. Like, you saw the episode. Well, if you haven't seen them, definitely get on Insecure, like, definitely. But if you saw the last episode, Molly asked Issa, like, can you respect my boundaries? Issa's trying to do right for herself. She's putting together her block party. It was a dope block party, too. Vince Staples, real life slept on rap artist. She got Vince Staples to, like, headline the event after her headliner dropped out. But she used Molly's boyfriend to do it after Molly asked her not to do that. Molly asked her not to do that. And she used Andrew's friend, Nathan, her, ex-man, to do that. And if your friend asks you not to do something, no matter what the reason, you don't do that, And Molly had a good reason, She's had past relationships kind of mess up because she took it too far. She kind of overextended them. And she's like, she doesn't want to do that with this guy. She really feel like she liked him. Issa didn't understand that because she's looking at past Molly. Just like Molly's looking at past Issa. And I get it. They're both really messed up right now. They're both not understanding each other. They're both wrong. But in this instance, I feel like Issa's more wrong than Molly. So I really feel like a lot of people should be like more like standing up for Molly on Twitter than they do. I mean, Molly's like getting it. Like, Molly's this, Molly's that. And I'm like, I'm putting it out there like, Molly's point of view is valid. They're both wrong. They're both kind of messed up on this. But I feel like Molly's more correct than Issa is. So in the next episode, it'll be real awkward. Like, And especially when friends fight, because when friends fight, they go low. Because when friends fight, they know everything about each other, and they know exactly which buttons to push. Especially best friends. Like if you know your best friend, you know exactly how to make them upset. You know what to say. You know what to do. You know how to attack them. Like my wife know what to say to just make me upset. She knows. Like there's certain buttons that you don't push, and if you want to make somebody upset, you push them, and they both push those buttons. So this can only get worse before it get better. So expect another couple episodes where they just don't speak, and if they do speak, it's gonna get dirty. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. So they should be some really good episodes though, and I'm expecting some other characters to kind of step to the forefront, especially Kelly. We do need to see more Kelly. Kelly's hilarious. So kind of looking forward to that. Quarantine means television for me. Watching the kids, doing a lot of teaching online because these kids are trying to turn in the rest of their work before the end of the year. Finally, and then television. Speaking of which, definitely missed that entire NFL schedule thing because I'm like, you already know who playing who. Why do I need to watch a schedule show for 3 hours on like ESPN? But what I did do is like I caught a whole lot of those videos from like the NFL teams. Those NFL schedule drops. Y'all gotta watch those. A lot of teams came through with some really, really good videos. Kind of ranked them for y'all. No need to watch them all. A lot of teams kind of messed up and they did videos that were way too long. They tried to do too much. For me, if your video was like longer than 3.5 minutes, you automatically disqualified. Like the Detroit Lions tried to do some stuff with Animal Crossing. Like my daughter loved that Animal Crossing game. She played on her Nintendo Switch all the time. But that video was like 6.5 minutes long. Man, we want to know who you playing. If you can make it funny, that's cool. But dude, 6.5 minutes, save that. You can miss us with that. Like, so they was disqualified. Top 5, number 5 on the Bengals. The Bengals had a good one. My squad had a good one. It was funny. Made fun of themselves. Kept it to like a minute and a half. It was good. It was funny. I put the Panthers at number 4. They would have been higher, but like they kind of tiptoed the line with theirs. Like 3.5 minutes, it started kind of getting a little bit boring, but it was good. It had like the whole quarantine thing going. It was good. The Eagles did the same thing. I put them at number 3. They had like the kind of like the quarantine thing as well, but they just kept it strictly to television. And like for every like team that they played, they kind of had like a television show about that team. Like for New Orleans, they did Treme, awesome show. Bengals, they did Tiger King, of course. Why not? But it was really good. Number 2, Jacksonville, hilarious. Anytime you can use like cats in your video, absolutely hilarious. And they kept theirs to like a minute and a half. And number 1, I got to give it to the Broncos. Absolutely hilarious. They used the Full House thing, kept it to like a minute and a half. It was hilarious. Like you got to check out what the Denver Broncos did. Like it was funny. So those would be the 5 videos I watch. I'm liking what the Bengals are doing as far as like their social media campaign, because like as far as like publicity, like they've been null and void for like decades. Like I'm really happy that the Bengals are like coming around as far as like getting out here socially. And we're trying to figure out what's going on for Halloween. Like we thinking real far ahead over here. I don't know about y'all, but like this whole COVID-19 thing, this might change Halloween. And we big on Halloween around these parts. So I just can't really see people handing out candy. Like, I'm not really seeing how that's working. Like, I can't see us like getting dressed up and going around people's houses and just taking their candy. So we got to figure out a way to let these kids in our house know that Halloween might look a little bit different. So if you got ideas on how we should like get that done, hit me up on Twitter and let me know how we should do that. I'm thinking that we might have to hit the store and like just buy some candy and just drop it in a bag or something. Like, I don't know. So let me know if you got ideas. Just hit me up on Twitter. That's Cincy_fan talk. And let me know if you thought that far ahead. Because, I mean, you got to be proactive out here. So that's kind of what we thinking. Yeah, it's May. We thinking October. So that's what you got to do. So about to get up out of here. So I'm going to kind of wrap this episode up. Make sure you catch the next episode drop next week about this same time next Tuesday. Make sure you check us out. So it's just a Cincy fan talking. Life is good. Check us out. Peace.